Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to The Spice Age. My name is Ian Thomas Hayes. My co-host, my favorite co-host with the most from the West Coast, Matt Toomey. Chef Matt Toomey, what's going on out there, buddy?
Well, I'll tell you what, we're getting ready for big storm coming to Mammoth Lakes. Haven't had any snow this fall. It's been a little slow, but I think that the weather gods are going to bless us here in the next couple of days. They're talking about 5 to 10 feet of snow in about 3 days, and that's absolutely
Jeez.
super fun, super dangerous. But I'm ready for it every time. And we'll get our restaurant cranking. We've been selling the
Yep.
Toomey seasoning just one after another. People come in for the holiday, especially for gift ideas. They just buy a ton of our seasoning. So we've been busy doing that. We have a new bar opened, Minaret Clubs. I've been just running around doing my thing.
Yep, I see you're rocking the Minaret Club jacket there. I see the logo there. That's awesome.
It's the cleanest shirt I have.
Yeah, we just got our holiday shipment, and we got 12 shakers of Toomey's, 12 glass jars, and 2 of the giant Grill Master bags. So we are ready to go for the holidays.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there is listening and you haven't got your Toomey's yet, you got a couple ways to get it. Number one, you can go check it out at toomeyseasoning.com. It's the easiest way you get it. But then you can also find the link in our podcast and on YouTube. There'll be a little link at the bottom and take you over there and grab that seasoning.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. You're going to say, I just need a shaker. And that's not true, because you're going to need at least a couple of shakers, because you're going to want it. And then you're going to want to give a few away to your friends, because then your friends are going to want to know, what is this magic you're putting on your food? So
Right.
talking about the magic, I'm curious. I know we're going to be talking. We've got a very special guest today, and I don't want to give that away yet. But well, you saw the title, you already knew who it is. But Chef, I'm curious. We talked about Thanksgiving. What's the Christmas go-to? What's your let's say your signature Christmas recipe that everybody asks for that you put the seasoning on?
You know what's funny is just prime rib is everybody calls up and asks for it. They've had it the years prior, and it's it's just a simple Toomey's. We just rub the outside with olive oil, nothing else. Put a nice crust. The kosher salt that we use in our seasoning, it when it caramelizes on the outside of your roast, it leaves a nice crunchy crust. It's not too salty, and it's a great balance of flavor throughout the whole prime rib. You got the crust on the outside, and then we just rub that down, caramelize it on top in the oven. Let it rest 15 minutes. When you're slicing your prime rib, it just comes out perfect. It offers a better sear on the outside, keeps all the juices in. It gives just enough balance of salt, pepper, and the pink peppercorn gives it that sweet pepper flavor that people don't wonder why it tastes so different. The pink peppercorns are magic, and that's all ever people ask for. And again, I'm so busy. We just cook off 10, 15 prime ribs a day, and out the door they go. Yeah, people come in and pick them up. It's great. And you don't even need an au jus or any kind of sauce with it. Sometimes a little horseradish cream. Take a little sour cream, horseradish, mix it together. Just to throw on top if you like. Yeah, we sell a ton of prime rib over the holiday season, and people love it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. So what do you recommend on side? Because I'm kind of a horseradish guy, just a little bit of that. So I've never mixed it with the sour cream. I've always just used kind of the horseradish sauce. So that sounds good. I'll try that out.
I mean, they sell it in the stores.
Yeah. So as a side, what are we looking at? We doing carrots, we doing potatoes. What's it's Christmas?
We do a lot of Brussels sprouts with pork belly. And a lot, a good little topper is that balsamic glaze. You can buy it at any supermarket. Man, it just pops. It just pops it. Season them, olive oil, pork belly, unless you're vegetarian. And then just that balsamic glaze on top, and you're done. And it's so simple and so fast. The other one I like a lot is asparagus. Asparagus is easy. You don't even have to do anything. You drop it in a pan, oil, turn it a couple times. Just a little bit of the seasoning on there. And people wonder why it tastes so different. You'll say, because there's not a bunch of butter, garlic, lemon, and all this other stuff. Just simple, and that's what we usually serve. And I don't like a lot of starch on our plates. We just go protein, vegetable, out the door she went. So that's it. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I've heard you say this a lot, Chef, and that's one of the things I love about cooking with the seasoning is that you're actually tasting what you're cooking. You're tasting the vegetable. You're tasting the meat. You're not tasting everything you put on top of it. Like you just said, you're not tasting the lemon and the garlic. You're tasting the asparagus.
Well,
and, it's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, and squash and zucchini, they're begging for a sauce because they don't taste good. Take zucchini, you got to do something with it. And I used to always tell people that in cooking classes. I'd say, you know what? you could make a cream sauce and make it unhealthy. All of a sudden you're eating all these vegetables with cheese, cream, and butter all over it. What's the point? Now you're going, man, I don't know why I gained 10 pounds. It's like, well, you ate a, you ate a bunch of zucchini, but you also had a lot of cream, butter, and cheese to it. And I like simplicity with everything I'm doing. I just, whatever. I don't like a lot of moving parts to my life. That's
Mhm.
why our cooking's simple. And the only problem is people need a lot of distractions. I mean, it's so easy to get bored because you have more free time. You know, that's when you clean your kitchen and go wash your car. Not spending all day in the kitchen. Some people, they just complicate things where I watch and I go, okay, have at it. And then you'll serve a dish. And again, our restaurants are proving ground. People always come in, they go, you have the best food. What's the secret? And I'll just go, hey, take this home and just cook with it. And don't put a lot of this other garbage on it. Every time, I love when they have that come to Jesus moment. They're like, oh my gosh, my kids, they'll eat their broccoli, their asparagus. We went and got squash and beets, two things that nobody likes to eat. And now they're cranking it out every day. And they're eating healthier. They're cooking at home. Families are around the table conversing, and that's the magic. So it's
Yeah.
all it's all symbiotic. It all goes together. You're going
I
out
love
to
it, Chef.
dinner.
And it's,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
No, you
Go ahead.
just people, they eat out a lot. You're on vacation or on the road, that's fine. But you know what? Find reasons to be at home with your families instead of, just DoorDash and all this other garbage. It's just so simple. And I always tell people
Yeah.
too, don't buy a lot of things at the store because you throw most of it away. Buy enough stuff you're going to consume for 2 days, and that's it. And some people,
Well, Chef,
yeah,
we've got an exciting day today. We've been talking about this for a while.
yeah,
This is going to be a good show. We
mhm,
get to talk to somebody, and you met her. Well, I don't know how many times you've met her, but you were out there in California earlier this spring doing some video
right,
recording with her, Brandi Milloy, lifestyle
yeah,
expert. She has a resume that just goes on and on. But first and foremost, she is a mother. She is a wife. She is extremely faithful, and she's a lot of fun. And she's going to fit right in with everything we talk about today. So I'm very excited to talk to her today.
oh yeah. You go to her house. We did some filming down in LA, and we used her house as our little staging area and cooking. And I'm telling you, when you're in her house, you feel like you're part of her family. She's got the warmest heart, and I've never. It's kind of like going to the Sweeney family's home. You go in, and you just know where their priorities are. It's faith, family, and she's just a loving mother and a great wife, which you have to have both. Sometimes, someone could be loving with their kids, but they set such a good example in their marriage that it's something you'd want to role model in front of anybody. It was amazing. So
Well, I'm excited. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to
okay,
go to a commercial quick spot from Toomey Seasoning, of course, the company that's making this podcast possible and one of the reasons why we're here today. But we'll hear from Toomey's for a second. We'll be right back and we'll talk to Brandi Milloy.
can't wait.
Toomey Seasoning is a blend of kosher salt, roasted black pepper, pink peppercorn, and just a hint of garlic. I've been in the business for 40 plus years, and through trial and error, you only find the finest qualities, the finest blend that you put together that really elevates the flavor of anything you're cooking. You could use it on steak, chicken, fish, salads, potatoes, French fries, you name it, the possibilities are endless. I'd like to see the seasoning on every table across America, because what that means is families are together. Whether it's over a dinner table, outdoor barbecue, whatever you're doing, just bringing everybody together, that's what life's all about. Toomey Seasoning is redefining salt and pepper, one sprinkle at a time.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us for the Spice Age. I am here joined by my co-host on the West Coast, Chef Matt Toomey, and we are so excited today because we have the privilege of interviewing lifestyle expert from coastal Los Angeles. Welcome, Brandi Milloy. Brandi, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we are very excited. I know Chef got to spend some time with you earlier this spring out there doing the big Toomey's photo shoot. I got to see some of the footage for that. The results are amazing. The social media is amazing. But we are here today to learn more about you and talk about you. And this is very exciting for us to be here today. So again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm excited.
So let's just jump right into it. You're in Los Angeles. Well, how's the weather today for you?
Oh, you don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it. I mean, I'm in short sleeves. It's 70 degrees. It's amazing. It is so good here that I don't even look at the weather. And we were laughing the other day because my girlfriend, she texted me saying, I can't believe it's going to rain on Christmas. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you're my weather girl. I had no idea because we never check the weather because it's just always 70 and sunny. So I will say I'm spoiled, but I take advantage of it. Like I treasure our weather so much. I love my beach walks. I love being outside. I'm like a lizard. I just love soaking up all the sun.
Well, yeah, you're right. I didn't want to hear that because I know in Ohio we're fighting 2-degree weather. We had 54 degrees yesterday, and today we woke up with snow and ice on all the cars. So Ohio is moody. I know, Chef, it's probably pretty nice for you guys, but you're expecting, what, a couple of feet of snow out there in Mammoth, right?
Yeah, if you look behind me, it's Yosemite National Park's right up on top of those mountains. And like Brandi said, we're in California, and it's been unbelievably warm up here, but I think it's all going to change next week. By Christmas, we should be getting, they're saying anywhere from 5 to 6 feet of snow. And like I said, it's like a light switch. You'll wake up in the morning and all of a sudden there'll be 3 feet of snow on the ground. So hopefully, the mountains will get a bunch of snow for all the people coming up for Christmas. But I got green grass behind me right now, and I'll take it because pretty soon, once winter comes, it doesn't go away for a while. So every day that's warm, it's okay. But again, our business depends on the skiing. So we need that snow to come. Yeah.
Chef, it looks like you're in a postcard.
Yeah. I kind of have it all set up that way. My living room looks out up Tioga Pass in Yosemite National Park. We're pretty lucky, and right behind me is a nice river full of trout, and it's really beautiful here. So it's a good time.
Well, excellent. Well, Brandi, let's just jump right into this. So, you and I got to talk on the phone the other day, and again, we talked before. I know that you spent some time with Chef out there, but our listeners are excited to learn more about you. So, we start off in college. We were in college to play soccer.
I was, yeah. I actually started playing soccer when I was in 7th or 8th grade, which was pretty late for an athlete. I'd played basketball since I was 2 years old, volleyball, and then I discovered soccer and was actually pretty good at it. But around 8th grade, I was told I had scoliosis, which is the curvature of the spine, was fitted with a back brace, went to school the next day, and just no one wanted to be my friend. I mean, people would walk up to me and like knock on my back and run. I had braces and glasses, so I already didn't have a lot going for me as far as fitting in. I wore a back brace for 3.5 years and thought that after wearing this back brace 23 hours of the day, only taking it off to shower to play a game, that I would be done with it. And then the same month that I was offered a full soccer scholarship was the same month the doctors said that they would have to give me surgery. And so they inserted 2 17-inch metal rods, fused them to my vertebrae with cadaver bone. And that was my first of 3 surgeries in the next 3 years. And so kind of the life that I knew it, you paint this picture of how you think your life is going to be. I would have been the first person in my family to go to college. My dad was in the Army and a helicopter pilot. My mom stayed at home. And so not a lot of people around me had been to college. And it was just such a dream. And so that really changed everything for me as far as how I was going to pay for college and what I was going to pursue in my life.
So then you fast forward. So then you go the journalism route, and that kind of takes you to where you are now.
Ian, I always knew I wanted to be a journalist ever since I was a little girl. I always knew I wanted to be a storyteller. I wanted to be in the field or a reporter. And I continued to pursue that in high school and college, was a production assistant, a script writer, worked in local news. And then I graduated college from the University of Arizona. So I went to 2 years of community college in Arizona, transferred to college, worked 3 jobs to make ends meet and to pay for college, did anything I could to apply for scholarships. And after I graduated, I decided I was going to move to Chicago and work for Oprah. Now, I didn't have an interview. I didn't have a job. This was 2006, and I just thought it would be as easy as that. And what's funny is I put one foot in front of the other and went to Chicago, didn't work for Oprah, but ended up doing a show for her on ABC called Oprah's Big Give, where I got to travel the world, prizing people with money, paying off their debts, answering dying wishes. And it was her first reality show called Oprah's Big Give on ABC. Wow. And that really kind of gave me, I guess, a little bit of excitement about being on camera, and kind of gave me the confidence that I should actually pursue something in television. And so after that, I moved to Los Angeles and decided to really try to be an on-camera reporter.
Okay. Okay. So you kind of become a pioneer in this, what's called the viral food space. I know you were part of Pop Sugar's Eat the Trend. So
Yep.
kind of can you talk to us, like, what's the biggest lesson you learned from that era about what people want to eat versus what looks good on social media?
Yeah, I always tell people I have the best job in the world because as a food reporter, I get to try so many different foods. I get to interview people about those recipes, learn the stories behind them, discover new cultures and ingredients I didn't even know existed. And so I was able to really turn my love into journalism and my love for food into a job on Pot Sugar called Eat the Trend, where I recreated food trends. And one thing that I discovered when I was covering all these crazy food mashups, viral social media food crazes, the weirdest things. Sometimes they're like a rainbow burger or a ramen burger. I discovered that, some of these trends, they come and go, but ultimately the ones that stay are the ones that are really good. Sometimes things are so bizarre and wild, and that's what gets people's attention. But for a food trend to really be one that's lasting, it has to actually live up to the hype.
Hmm.
And one that I've been seeing recently, which I am so excited to try, is this sweet potato trend where you make a sweet potato, you bake it until it's nice and soft, and you stuff this German cheese inside of it. So you just kind of like, take a bite off the top, stuff this German cheese in it. That's like a soft, almost like a Gruyere, and you just eat it like a hot dog. And so that is one thing I'm dying to try because so many people have been saying it lives up to the hype. And so for me as a food reporter, I'm constantly always researching, what are the foods that people are talking about and what are the ones that like people can't stop talking about. And those are the ones that end up being real foods that people want to have at the dinner table.
Yeah. I remember coming up from the basement out of my studio one day, and my oldest is 19 now, but they were in high school at the time, and my youngest was in middle school, and they were eating barbecue chips with marshmallows and something else they had seen online. Like, Dad, this is the new TikTok trend. You have to check this out. It just was so interesting, the combinations people come up with, and they've got the microphones that pick up all the crunching sound and everything. I mean, it's crazy what you see out there.
I think I love food trends that surprise and shock and delight. And if you're someone that likes salty sweet, a combination like that might sound so bizarre, but then you try it and you're actually into it. So I think it's fun. And I think what I love about food trends is it gets people back in the kitchen. It gets them talking about food. It gets them connecting and fostering those relationships. And for me, as a food reporter, as a mom, that's really what I'm all about is breaking bread with people, spending meaningful time together. And that's why it's so important for me to always have dinner with my family because there is nothing more sacred and special than spending that time together, screen free, just really spending meaningful time with the people that you love.
Yeah, screen free. That's the biggest piece in our house. And I know, Chef, you've got kids. You probably had to deal with that as well. We have a kind of thing here at the house. So when the kids go to bed on the second floor, phones stay on the first floor. And as they've gotten older, my older, so they use their phone as their alarm. But the younger ones, nope, phones stay down here. Let's unplug and actually stay away from that. So that's hard to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's hard to be different too. I'm a mom of an 8 and 6-year-old, and I always have to tell my children, every family is different, and it's important that you have a partner in your life and in parenting that really is on the same page as you, because there are so many obstacles that I face as a mom, and because other parents do things differently, or kids are allowed to do stuff, and we don't do screens Monday through Friday. On Friday nights, our kids can choose a movie, and we enjoy a movie together as a family. We also don't do screens Monday through Friday. My husband and I, television, iPads. Of course, we use phones and computers, but And then on the weekends, they're allowed to watch TV, but we're always so busy doing sports, going to church, hanging out with friends, hosting people that it just becomes such a secondary desire. And the amount of times I've met parents that say, I wish I would have done it. And I'm like, it's not too late. You're still the parent. Like, since when are you not the parent? If your kids still live under your roof, I don't care if they're 18. If they live under your roof, you still have the rules. And sometimes children are just craving those boundaries because they are in autopilot. I'm guilty of it too. Like, I'm on my phone and I realize, like, what did I just spend an hour doing? And so that's one thing that I encourage as a parent is you might not be able to control outside of your house, but you can control the four walls of your home. And as a mom, I am the heart of the home. And it's up to me to really set the tone in my home.
We were just talking about that
Wow.
yesterday, Chef. We had the privilege
Mhm.
of interviewing, and actually, he's an NBC4 reporter here from Columbus. His name is Matt Herchek. But Chef, we got to talking about the screens, and we were talking about you hiring staff for your restaurant. And if I'm sure you remember the conversation, but you were talking about how it's so hard to get these kids to focus, especially when they're not busy. They're in the corner on their phones, even when they're at work.
Right. Right. Well, number one, I explained to them, I understand everybody has a phone. They like to look at it. I try to explain to them the value of the present moment versus looking. I always say, think about how much time you look at a screen of other people doing things, and that's robbing you of your personal life where you should be present,
Mhm.
interacting with other people, like Brandy was just explaining with family. Do you know how important it is to connect? We all need the human connection, the human touch with other individuals. You'll never get it on a phone, and it's sad. It's addictive. We're all guilty of it. It's like
Mm-hmm.
alcohol. How much of it do you consume a day? And if you consume a lot of it, alcohol, screen, or anything else that's not good for you, it's going to take you down. And I guarantee, I tell my kids on the high school baseball team, you will regret. You will get to the graduation day if you're spending time on your phone or you're not doing your absolute best. Like we talked about yesterday about setting the example every day. What would God want us to do? But people say, what would Jesus do? Well, if you don't do that, you look back with such regret. You don't get that time back. You can't you can't undo it. And so if you practice kind of reminding yourself that every day, I think you living with gratitude versus regret. And I encourage it every day. And I love
Mhm.
when people come up to me and said, I remember when you said that. And hey, baby, step it back a little bit. But the more like Trevor Hoffman, who was on our podcast a few weeks ago, talked
Yep.
about keeping the phone downstairs if you got upstairs bedroom. Just
Yep.
keep your phone away
Mhm.
from your bed. And then once you get moving on something else, exercise. Brandy likes to walk on the beach, and I've been to your
Yeah.
house, Brandy, and I've seen, man, your husband comes home, the kids, and the last thing you guys have going on is a silly phone or a screen. It's all about
Well,
the
I love that you mentioned the beach walk because I always preach this to my friends, to young people when I go speak
hmm
at schools. Having a morning routine and a nighttime routine, but having
yeah.
a morning routine is so important. For
Oh
me,
yeah.
that really sets me up for success. My husband and I have been getting up at 5 a.m. Monday through Friday since we were engaged. I mean, that's just always been our thing, and it's our quiet time. And I'm usually doing my devotional or spending time in prayer and spending time in stillness. He's doing like mobility work and stretching. And
Yeah.
we just spend that time like kind of connecting, but also spending time like inward
hmm
and in prayer. And then, yeah, movement is so important. I love going on my beach walks. I've met so many incredible people in my community just by being outside and connecting with other people that get up early like me. But there's something so sacred and special about when you give yourself that time uninterrupted without any of the distractions. And it's so unfortunate that sometimes it takes young people, a long time to discover
Well,
that secret sauce. But for me, it's like you can start this as someone in high school to just
yeah.
give yourself that time because it really sets the tone for everything.
And I want to say it again. I always tell people, do you want to live with regret or gratitude? And it's all about that
Mhm.
phone. You'll be so much more grateful. And I love the phone for music. We all like music. I never
Yeah.
turn the TV on in the morning, but just having music, I have this turn the speakers on and
Yes.
just do something. I listen to music. I love my coffee. I like to sit with my
Oh,
cat in the
awesome.
morning, but other than that, the less time on the phone, in my head, I just say the less time you look at your phone, the more gratitude you'll have. And the other thing I do, I was telling my son this morning, I love just to, instead of looking at the stupid news, it's the same every single day. Every day, you know
Mhm.
exactly when you hit the news button, the first thing that pops up, it's always something negative. Why not just send out a nice text to friends and people that, I have friends that are attorneys, and I'll send them just a text going, thank you for all the things you've done for me, that you've helped me out. You can send a quick text to
Wow.
someone, hey, I hope you have a nice day. Not, how many text messages are, hey, when you're not busy, it's always something you need, or I don't like to do that. Hey, Brandy, good morning. I hope you and your family are doing well. And you read that, and then it's just a spiral of positive energy, and it fires you up
Yeah.
so much versus, and it's kind of like, you start your day off that way. It's with just gratitude and thinking about how lucky you are to
And
be
it doesn't
alive.
cost anything. That's
No,
the beauty of it. I mean, technology, there are so many positives to technology, and that's a perfect example. I love to dictate a lot because texting, can take even longer, but I'll
yeah,
just press that microphone button and send a quick text to someone.
right.
And you're absolutely right. It doesn't cost anything. It completely can turn around their day. And it's so easy to connect with others by a simple text message.
My attorney always tells me this because I told him this once. I told him, I said, I don't think people realize in 2 sentences, you just handed somebody all your college, your law school, all your experience as a lawyer. You just handed somebody all of that in 2 sentences, probably saved them 100 grand or whatever, or saved them from making a bad decision. And they don't even
Hmm.
realize how important that is. And my attorney said, you know what? No one's ever told me that before. I go, well, it's
Oh,
true. Like,
man.
all
Yeah.
of your experience, Brandy or Ian, where you go, you tell someone, hey, this happened to me, and it was your whole life experience leading up to right now, the moment that you told them that, and how valuable that is, and how thankful you should be. Or a doctor, you could talk to a doctor, and they could just go, make sure to do this, and that's 20 years of education and experience and everything crammed into one little sentence. They just hand it to you as a gift. And I think if your mindset's always towards gratitude versus
Mhm.
recognizing that with them, it's a win-win. Everyone feels good about it. It's great. So,
This is
You know
gonna.
what I
and
Sorry. Go ahead. Good. Good,
Oh,
I
Brandy.
I was just
just,
gonna say you
okay, Brandy,
I
go.
love it. This is a good thing. Well, you know what I just received in the mail the other day was this little card, and I'm thinking I saw the recipient. And I was like, wait, they sent us a Christmas card already. I open it. It's from one of my best guy friends, Avo. He owns a jewelry company, Edward Avadis. He's a fifth generation jeweler. Him and my husband designed my ring, but he is like a dear, dear friend, him and his family. And I opened the card and it says, Dear Brandy and Chris, as I reflect over the last year on some of the things I'm grateful for. And it goes into this written note, 5 sentences long, telling us how grateful he is for our friendship, our business, and so forth. And I was so moved. And I just kept thinking, when is the last time I did that? I'll send thank you cards here and there, or maybe, right after a dinner or something. But where I actually sit down and kind of just reflect and do the introspection and kind of ponder about what I am grateful for, and not just in a gratitude journal, but speaking those words of affirmation to someone else in written form. And I
Right.
saw him a week later and I said, that letter was so thoughtful and it was so simple. And we just appreciated it so much. And he said, yeah, I did like 10 a day starting in. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, like after Thanksgiving, I just kind of was like, it's kind of about time. And he did 10 a day. And I'm like, I don't even know if my hand could handle that because I haven't written that much in so long. But he certainly inspired me. And that's something that I want to do before the end of the year is just send handwritten notes to people that I'm really grateful for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And
this.
not just a generic, hey, thanks for everything, Be more specific. The more specific, the more grateful you will feel. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it'll come off as playful, and I promise I'm not trying to do this, but I think I would like to wake up in the morning with a 360-day-a-year tear-off pad that is a Chef Toomey, what do I do today? One small win. And every day, just a little rip, and that's what you do. And hey, remember those big blocks of paper they used to sell them? That'd be fantastic, Chef. Just one thing to
I
do a
like
day.
that.
I love it.
So, what would Toomey do today? I love it. So, Brandy, you've let's see here. You've conquered the blog world, web series. You've been on network TV. As you're kind of looking out here over the next couple of months, like what project is really kind of lighting you up right now? What are you looking forward to?
Oh my gosh, this is going to be so annoying that there is a project I am so excited about, but I can't talk about.
I love
So
it.
that's annoying. So let's not do that. But I think the beauty of working for myself, I own a production company. I work as an on-camera host. So I get to work on camera and work with people in news and in television, but then I also get to be behind the scenes and really like cheer people on. And that's what I did with Chef when we produced some content for him. And so I'm constantly just thinking about like, are there brands or people that I want to work with that I haven't worked with? And so when I look at the year and Q1 and all the way to Q4, I kind of think about the clients that I work with and if there's clients that I haven't worked with. And I really stay open to the excitement of kind of this freelance world that I'm in because, one month could be really slow and the industry has been slow. And then you get an email, and all of a sudden, you're doing something really big and exciting. So I think that, to be in this industry, you really have to just stay positive, stay tenacious. I always remind myself that, opportunity or luck is when opportunity meets hard work meets opportunity, so it's like I can't just stop working hard because the opportunity isn't there. And so I'm excited to continue working with really incredible brands. And I'm a guest for KTLA, California Live. Yes, I've been a judge on Food Network. I had a show on Food Network and Cooking Channel. So, of course, the goal is always to be back on television in a more consistent timeline. But I really trust that God has a greater plan for me. And, there's always going to be something good out of what I'm doing as long as I keep him at the focus.
Yeah, and you mentioned when we talked talked on the phone the other day, that you guys are pretty heavily involved in your church with mission work. So you talk, what's kind of your experience been with the mission work in the church, or you have experience or something you've done recently that you particularly enjoyed?
Yeah, I started doing mission work when I was really young. In fact, both of my parents got this amazing award in Arizona called Volunteer of the Year. Giving back was just something that was always so natural for me and my family. It was always about serving others and really being disciples of Jesus and going out and doing the work and connecting with people. And so even in college, I was a tutor, helped start a 501. And so recently I've been working with an organization called Cross Catholic. And what I love that they do is they work with communities and countries that need us the most, but they connect with people in those countries and find out what their needs are instead of just kind of doing whatever they want. Or sometimes people think, oh, we need to build a hospital or we need to do this, instead of really forming those relationships with existing organizations, local partners. And so I've been on 2 mission trips a year in the past several years. My husband does mission work as well, working with Cross Catholic to build churches and homes in these communities that really have nothing. And those mission trips are about 7 days at a time. I'm just so grateful that I get to go to these places, Guatemala, Dominican Republic. Several years ago, I went to Uganda and shadowed palliative care and hospice care teams into really rural areas and helped document the work that they were doing. But I think besides that, besides mission work in other countries, there is so much to be done here in the United States, in our backyard, in our own community. And so I'm really heavily involved in my church here in Manhattan Beach and just serving the poor, whichever way that I can, whether it's making meals, making toiletry kits, hope bags for the homeless, helping the food bank. There is always a need. And sometimes it's not about money. Sometimes it's just about time, which for me and my family, my children, is the greatest gift of all, just giving your time.
Well, Chef, I feel like I'm monopolizing this. I mean, what would you like to ask?
Well, no, it's funny because one thing you notice about Brandi Milloy, I've had a couple, honorable moments to meet her and her family, is it was never ever about her. It was always about everybody else in the room. And when I was down at her home, she just made sure she pays such close attention to everybody else and what everybody else needs. And just what she just told us about how giving she is, it comes naturally to her through her faith, and it's amazing, it's infectious. And I think when you're around people like that, all you can do is you just inspire. You don't ever walk away from someone like the Milloy family and just not go, wow, I can do more. And like you say, sometimes it's just time. A lot for me. I'm blessed to own a restaurant, and we interact. Brandi and her family were up there in Mammoth, over the summer, and every day you have the opportunity to make someone feel better. It's not always about just serving them food. It's about saying the right thing, or helping someone out just with just little tiny things. And I think it makes you feel more guided too when you're doing the right things. So yeah.
That's right.
But yeah, as far as questions go, no, I was curious when you're talking about breaking bread, and I was curious about, Brandi, your family ritual when you talk about being together, and you kind of you're talking a little bit about just putting the screens down. What's your family ritual for at dinner time? What do you guys normally like to talk about? What do you like to do?
Yeah. Well, as I said, I have an 8 and a 6-year-old, and I know that, times will look different as my kids get older, but my daughter is playing in competitive sports. She has practice 3 days a week, late at night. So, a lot of times people will say, like, how do you make time for togetherness and for dinner every night when your kids play sports? And the simple answer is we prioritize it. we make sure it happens. We might have
Mhm.
dinner at 4 p.m. or we
Mhm.
might have it later on in the evening, but we prioritize it. Um, I always make sure my kids are involved. Oftentimes, my husband will get off work before me, so he actually is the one cooking in the kitchen. And that's the joke: is I cook on television, my husband cooks in real life. So it's nice that we have those roles. We have an understanding of who's going to be tackling that, who's going to be tackling setting the table. And sometimes I will set the table at 11 a.m. or 9 a.m. before I start my day, so
Mhm.
that the dinner table or the supper table is designated for dinner, and
Yeah.
there's no excuses to not just sit down together.
Mhm.
My children know they are not allowed to get up unless they are excused. One thing that we do sometimes is we have this little prayer cube, and I actually had one on my desk. This is just like a wooden little cube that I got on Amazon, and it has different thought starters. One of them says, "Dear God, today I need your help with. Heavenly Father, I praise you for. Dear God, I pray for." And my kids will actually fight over who gets to say what their prayer intention is every night.
Ah.
So we'll say grace. And then as we're starting to serve ourselves, my daughter's like, "I want to go first. I want to go first." And she'll tell me about a classmate's brother who's going to have, some type of surgery that she wants us to pray for. Or we'll roll the die and it'll land on this and they'll say, "Oh, dear Lord, I need to forgive. Let's talk about that." And so that is one way that we connect. We obviously share our highs and lows, so the bud and the thorn of
Yeah.
the rose of the day. Sometimes I'll just come up with fun questions on the way to school, and I'll tell them they have to answer me at dinner. So I'll say, like, "Where did you see God show up for you today?" Or "What
Wow.
is something kind you did today?" And then my kids I'll say, "Okay, I asked you guys a question. Did you find it? What did you do that was kind?" And my husband and I do this together too, because for us, you have to model the behavior you expect. And even something as simple as eating with forks and knives and real flatware and serveware. Sometimes we'll light candles because my kids love to be able to blow out the candles, but we will make it feel special. And we want our children to know that this is special family time and nothing is more important than each other.
Yeah. I like
Well, I
I
love
like
that.
the one, I think it was you, the Christmas cards. Don't you have all these Christmas cards at the table and
Yes.
you pick one out
Thank you for
and
reminding
yeah,
me. That is
that
one
was
of
my
my
favorite.
favorite hacks.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Ian, I was telling Chef that last year I took all of the Christmas cards that we got, and instead of trashing them, or putting them in a box and forgetting about them, we actually have this beautiful little box that we keep in our home. And I put them in there and then I put them on the dinner table. And every night and usually this is around Christmas time, but it goes through the year because,
Mhm.
if you have more than 30 friends, then you're going to have more than 30 cards. And so I will have the kids pick out a card every night and we'll look at the family's picture and we'll pray for them or we'll talk about them
Wow.
or we'll think, yeah, it
That's
is
so cool.
the best way to use those Christmas cards. And, sometimes we kind of take for granted the people that we see by default, the friends that we see every single day. And you forget to kind of pause and really have gratitude for them. But I love it. It's such a fun exercise. And no matter what your kids' ages are, it really becomes such a fun thought starter, conversation starter, thinking of memories you've had with those people, stories or inside jokes that you've forgotten about. And it's a great way to use your Christmas cards.
Mhm. I
Well,
love
it's
that
not
one.
just that. I mean, that it is, but your kids are gonna when they grow up, they're gonna remember that those pieces of that. There's so many things they remember. I know that I'm always excited to hear what my oldest daughter will talk about. She remembers from holidays, and she's 19 now, so I start to hear those things from her. But that right there and alone, your kids will be like, "I remember when we did that with mom and dad," and maybe someday they'll have that on their table too. I love that. That's so simple but so impactful. That's great.
Well,
Yeah.
I think if there's any listeners that are listening that are new moms or new parents, if you take anything away from this interview, listening to me as a mom, one thing that I always try to stress is the best part about being a mom and being a parent is you get to decide what kind of parent you want to be. And
I
you get
love
to
it.
decide what traditions you want to continue carrying on. And you get to pick and choose from your parents things that they did that you like, or maybe things that
Yep.
they did that you didn't like. And you really get to craft this person that you want to be. And you can be a fun mom that goes to rock concerts, and you can be a mom that likes to give back. You can be whatever you want and really create a home that you want to be in it and that safe place that your kids want to go to. And even though our kids are little, my husband and I always talk about when our kids are older, we want to be the home that all of the teenagers come to. I want to always be the safe place that always has food, where you feel welcome, where you feel seen, where you get space, but you know that you're safe. And that's the best part of like, that is the magic of being a parent is you are the rule maker for your life.
Yeah.
I got to
Wow.
I have to say with Brandi what you just said. I say that all the time. The word decide is so powerful. If you really think about it, it makes you, when you use the word decide, I am going to decide. And that means from Latin to cut off from all other possibilities, the decision.
Wow.
And I always tell people, man, the negativity from your childhood can make you the best person ever. I grew up, my upbringing was definitely not perfect, but I learned what not to do more from all the negativity. I learned,
Yeah.
you learn more from that than the positive, but both together, it's there for a reason. It works. It's a symbiotic relationship where you go, I
Yeah.
get inspired by greatness like you or my buddy Mike Sweeney or two people I get around, and I'm like, wow, these people are incredible. But then someone could be really, really rude, and you can be like, I am so grateful to experience that. That really hurt me, and I never want to do that to somebody. That pain was so bad.
Right. Right.
I'm never going to do it. And some people,
Hmm.
they try to say, well, you have no idea what it was like for me growing up. And I'm like, but you can decide. And that's so powerful when you think about it. No one else can make you do anything. You get to decide. We talked about yesterday about meaning. What
Hmm.
what you get to give whatever meaning to any experience you have. It's yours to keep. Is the meaning. What does that mean to me? It
Yes.
means I'm never going to do that. It means I'm going to do everything I can to get myself out of this situation. And once you know that, no one can touch you. You're invincible, you
Hmm.
know? And I always tell
Yeah.
people, man,
I love that.
start with prayer and start with doing good things for you. Everybody, you don't have to go to college to go work out. You don't need money. You could just go run around the
Hmm.
block 10 times. You can do push-ups. You could do everybody and just don't make it just right on the wall. I will not make an excuse today. I'm going to just get up and hammer it. And little things.
Yes.
I always say, if you do little things, you'll get a little result. Do a big thing, get a big result. And it's not hard. It's not hard. It's just a matter of
And you get
deciding.
that momentum going, really. I love
It's the
that little,
best.
thoughts become things. And once you
Yeah.
start, you can't stop. One of my favorite quotes is by Mother Teresa. She said, in order to find yourself, you must first lose yourself in the service of others.
I love
And
it.
sometimes we are so inward in our bubble and in our world, and we're so self obsessed that we actually forget that there's other people. And so
Yeah.
that's one of my biggest, pieces of advice for people is if you are like too much about me and feeling sorry for yourself and not feeling motivated, like you got to get out of it and start serving someone else or start connecting with someone else because it's not
Right.
all about you.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what? The real win or the real joy is in helping others. And once you connect with that and realize you don't really need anything just to give, life's a lot simpler. And that's where
Hmm.
I think the whole selfie revolution and everybody with the phone on themselves is like, put that phone down and go out and just say hi to someone else. It doesn't take a lot. The meanest, craziest looking people, you say, hey, good morning to them, lights them up every time. So, yeah.
Right.
Chef, I loved when you're talking about, you've talked about it before on the podcast, but you talk about playing wiffle ball in the front driveway with your son. There's just something
I
about
love
that
it.
that's so nostalgic that makes me, every time you talk about it, it gives me this warm feeling, brings me back to childhood. I don't know, I dig that kind of thing because
Well,
I think everything's
I
become
guess
so automated and we're so busy all the time, we forget those things.
I told you on the last podcast, he came up with two of his teammates from Long Beach, and it's surreal. You'll see him on a baseball field down in Long Beach at Long Beach State playing Division I baseball, and all of a sudden you got him in your yard and you're flinging the wiffle ball. And we have a thing where we have the wiffle ball and the tennis ball. So you hide it in your glove. The tennis ball is going to go 100 miles an hour. The wiffle ball is going to go 40 miles an hour. And you have like three balls in your glove, and you'll grab a wiffle ball, 40 miles an hour, you try to get them to swing and miss, and then all of a sudden you'll throw the heater with a tennis ball. But if you throw a tennis ball, you better turn around because he'll hit a line drive and put one right in your face, and that won't feel very good.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
But yeah, it's definitely, like I said, that's something that goes, it's like you feel like you're in the movie The Sandlot when you're playing wiffle ball. You're just out there. All you need is, you don't even need a glove, you know. We'll just find every ball out in the yard. We'll just start flinging them, and you got to either wiffle ball bat or just grab whatever you got. And the challenge is for us, never go to the store and buy something. Find anything you got in the garage and use it. I hate buying stuff to go entertain yourself. Let's get that, that, and that. Let's put it together and make a game out of it. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
we were talking a few minutes ago about starting. I guess I forget who said it, but we were talking about starting projects and developing rituals. And I have something that I tell the guys that work for me, and I tell the guys in my band. This it's kind of become my new thing. Is I forget where I heard it. I know somebody famous said it. It's so good. I use it as much as I can. But it's whatever you're thinking about starting, you start it today, because in 6 months you're going to have 6 months worth of results or 6 months worth of excuses.
Yes.
And that's just something I keep
Yes.
hitting with these guys, and even the guys that are on our worship team. Like, I'm so busy, I don't have time for this, I don't have this. No, you're either going to have data points or you're going to have a trend. And I'd rather be the guy that has the trend in 6 months worth of results. And at least there, again, it's almost impossible because we're so busy. But Brandi, like you said, it's prioritizing. It's finding that time.
Sure.
We've got 4 kids in this house too. All of them. Well, not all of them, but all of them live in the house now are playing sports. And every night it's a soccer team or a soccer game, or my wife coaches soccer and I coach baseball for my son. And it's how do we find that time? And, are we just going to go pick up something fast to eat tonight or whatever it is? But if you can get them at that table and you can set those phones to the side and you can create that space and create those memories, that's what they're going to remember, and that's what we're going to take away. They're not going to remember their doom scrolling times on TikTok, and they're not going to remember the latest trend in 5 years, but they will remember those Christmas cards. And that warms my heart so much to hear.
yeah.
I love it.
I'm
Yeah.
glad.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, we got time for about 2 more questions here, Chef. So I know you've got one that I love to watch you ask this question, and I love the responses. So fire away.
Well, the other one is, we always like to ask it. You got 15 minutes to throw together something in the kitchen. You got your Toomey seasoning. What are you going to throw down? Just a quick meal that's going to get everybody together. You're in Brandi Milloy mode where you're go, go, go. But hey, we're going to stop and make something to eat. What do you like to throw together really quick in your kitchen?
Well, I mean, anytime I cook, it's gonna be quick. At least the act of cook time. It might sit in slow cooker all day, but I'm all about quick meals. It depends on the day, because something that I'm known for is we eat the same thing every day of the week. And what I mean by that is Mondays are always meatless Mondays. Tuesday is Taco Tuesday. Wednesday is Pasta Wednesday. Thursday is a wild card, so that could be Asian or it could be leftover bowls out of the ingredients we have. Every Friday, my husband makes homemade pizza. The dough, the sauce, that starts on Wednesday. But every Friday, we host Pizza Friday. And so it depends on the day.
Okay.
But I mean, what don't I put Toomey's on? The other day, I made this really quick and easy bolognese sauce and just put the Toomey's all over the ground beef, Wagyu ground beef. But then I put the sauce and the ground beef in the slow cooker with the shredded carrots and celery, a little bit of cream, and just let that ride all day long. And it's just like the easiest bolognese. Took 2 seconds. Lately, I've been into sweet potato bowls. So we'll do like Mediterranean bowls where we bake a baked potato and then we load it up with whatever protein we want. A 15-minute salmon, a little bit of Toomey's, that's it, on a really nice fillet of salmon. Stuff it on top of the sweet potato. Add hummus, tahini, avocado, tomatoes, pickled beets, like whatever we have in the fridge, feta, and that's dinner. I use Toomey's every single day, 100%.
That's Liz. I used to always say, people
the
go
same way here.
People always ask me
Go ahead,
about the
Jeff.
seasoning. And I said, I created it to make healthy food taste good. Like when you talk about your sweet potato or sometimes like Brussels sprouts, it's like vegetables are good for you, but they're begging for something, but you don't want to put butter and all this other stuff on it, and just lightly season, man. It brings it to life. It makes the flavor pop. I find myself just eating more healthy. I have for a long time. Just, and people go, why does that taste so good? I go, there's not a bunch of other things on it, just the essentials to balanced seasoning that pops the flavor without masking it, and it's great.
Yeah, Chef,
So
I've heard you say that before, Chef, and I love it. And I've used it for people that when I give them Toomey's, I say, if you're going to eat a carrot, you want to taste the carrot. You'd like to have something on top that makes the carrot taste better, but you still want to taste the carrot. And I just think that's great.
Yeah.
Super
If you put salad dressing on it, ranch dressing, people do that a lot. Okay, go ahead, but just a little bit. We always use olive oil and just a little seasoning, and it just pops the flavor. I don't know another way to describe it. And broccolini is another one. I love it with just a little bit of just the seasoning and a little bit of olive oil I like the olive oil. Basically, I'm a texture guy too. You want the olive oil gives it a nice texture on there. There's not much flavor there. Just that little hint of pink peppercorn in there, and it just, it's like magic in the mouth. And I like the Toomey's ad that came out today. Let your ingredients be what you're eating, like your salmon. That's your ingredient. You don't need, fennel, butter, garlic,
Hmm.
lemon, wine, Bob. Just sprinkle that on there, oil, done. Let the magic happen. And I've had more people at my dinner table go, God, this is really good. There's nothing on it. I go, well, we just season it and call it a day. And I'm also lazy. I don't like to have all these moving parts to making a dish. I just want to go bingo, bongo, done, whatever. Or what were we saying? Yeah, at your house, bingo. Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, simple,
Yep.
simple. Like, simple is like when we get back to our primitive state of sitting around the dinner table and interacting. It's the same thing with cooking. Just keep it simple. Back in the 70s growing up, everybody sat at the dinner table,
Hmm.
Yeah.
talked about
Yeah.
their day. And Brandy reminded all of us about how important that is, the connection. And well, you don't want to get to be 80, 90 years old, look back and go, well, when my kids were in the house, all I did was look at my phone and worry about my finances, all these other things. Turn on some music. I like to laugh a lot. I joke around all the
Yeah.
time. It's been my downfall and also one of my strengths. So, but when things are going wrong, I make jokes about it. I don't care what it is. I'm like, we just opened a bar in next to our restaurant, Brandy, and when things aren't going right, smile and
Oh,
keep
yay.
working. Yeah, yeah, it's fun. It's bars aren't my thing, but it's a really nice addition to the restaurant. And yeah, when you're not sure what to do, just just do something. Don't ponder. Just get to work. It's been fun. It's an adventure, and with the snow coming, we're looking forward to a successful season. So that'll be fun. Yeah. And we have our Toomey's Bloody Mary where you put the Toomey's. My daughter, Maureen, actually came up with Toomey seasoning on the rim of the Bloody Mary glass, and people come in and that's all they drink now. It's hilarious. Okay, so Brandy, we touched base on food, family, and faiths, which was amazing. A question I always like to ask is, what's your go-to music? What fires you up? And also, what's the most memorable concert you've been to? I always love hearing that story.
I mean, music depends on my mood. Like sometimes I just really want hard rock. I love country music. I love Christian music. I really love oldies. Like I love listening to Elvis in the Kitchen, the Beatles, probably because my parents listen to oldies a lot.
Yep.
So I feel like at home, I just love that comfort music. But recently I took my daughter to her first concert, which was so random, but turned out to be one of the most special nights. We went to the Mariah Carey Christmas concert. She does this special in Vegas and she does all Christmas songs. So like it felt like we're at church. We're singing Come O Come Emmanuel and Oh Holy Night. And then like an hour and a half, like right at the end of her concert, she just did all of her classics.
Wow.
Honey and Heartbreaker. And so all the moms, we just started losing it, dancing. And it was just such a fun memory to share with my daughter. I was just blown away.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. I know.
actually.
Yeah, Chef, we were talking earlier when we got on the call. You guys are up waking up early in the morning out there in California and throwing on some 38 Special and jamming out to that. What's the Milloy house got going on when you guys are rocking out?
Oh, I mean, it really depends. I always tease my husband because he'll listen to like emo rock, like The Used, or I don't know, just like really hard screaming music. But I know the lyrics by this point. So my kids will just laugh at us because they're like just getting up. They just put on their clothes. They're about to eat some eggs. And then their parents are like, screaming and like jamming out. And so I love it. We always change the music. Like it just depends on our mood, our vibe. We love to dance in the kitchen, but we'll go from like worship music and amazing like waist clapping music to all of a sudden I'm like, I need some Taylor Swift or, I need some Dolly Parton. I mean, we are all over the place. And I kind of love that. I love that my kids are in a home where all music is appreciated and they can just see us be free and silly.
So cool. I love it. Brady, I'm a huge fan of country music. I don't know if you know that or not, but I'm glad to hear you like the same things. So, hey, listen, we've had a great time here today. I really appreciate it. I know you guys are very, very, very busy. Chef, I know you're getting ready for the holidays. Brandy, I know you've got a lot on your plate. So we want to thank you so much for giving us some time today, for coming in here and talking to us, sharing your thoughts on, again, food, your family, what you guys do for fun, your faith. We really appreciate that so much. Just blessings to you and your family, to your business, to everything you're doing as you guys go on the holidays. Thank you so much for being here today. It's been an honor to talk to you. And yes, it's just wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, you
So,
well, you have a great
Bye,
day.
Brandi.
To everybody watching out there in the world, when we get done with this video, we'll have all of Brandi's links up to her Instagram, Facebook, anything she's got going on out there, YouTube, you name it. We're going to have it all out there. Find her, connect with her, follow her. She's going to show you some great tips out. And we appreciate everything you did. Thank you so much. You guys all have a great day. Thank you, Chef.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
happy holidays
Hey.
to you all.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Brandi. Have a great holiday.
Bye.
Bye.
Woo.
Hey, everyone. Thank you again for joining us today for this episode of our podcast, The Spice Age. My name is Ian Thomas Hayes, and I am the co-host of the podcast, along with my good friend, Chef Matt Toomey, the creator of Toomey's Seasoning and the chef for Toomey's Restaurant in Mammoth, California. We're going to be bringing this podcast to you weekly, and we're very excited about all the different guests we have lined up and all the content we have for you. You can find this podcast at www.toomeyseasonings.com. You can also find the podcast at my website, www.ianthomashays.com, or anywhere else you listen to your regular podcasting. We want to thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much.